something is killing all of our ash trees. And the fight to save these ash trees just got a massive plot twist. Check this out. You see these tracks? S-shaped, packed with dust. That's not just damage, that's a death sentence. So what's doing this damage? And why are the forests losing this battle? Well, I'm gonna show you what's causing this damage, and then we're gonna look at the one trick that the scientists are using to tip the scales in our favor. Stick around. Back in the 1990s, a tiny little green beetle hitched a ride inside some packing material and arrived in Detroit, Michigan. It's called the emeraldashborer beetle, or EAB for short. After it landed in Michigan, it started walking, well, flying really. Well, actually mostly hitching a ride on firewood towards the East Coast, west across the country and north to Minnesota here. And it's not stopped since. It just keeps expanding. Mainly because idiots refuse to stop moving firewood, but that's besides the point. We'll talk about that later. But here's the part most people never learn. Why does this one bug kill ash trees so easily while other bugs barely put a dent in trees like oak or maple? But first, most of you aren't subscribed to the channel, so please hit that subscribe button, thanks. Anyways, let me show you something. Most hardwoods, like this oak right here, will move water through several layers of this wood, the sapwood. It's the outer living portion of the tree. The inside's dead. Now these thick layers, they all have backup systems. So if one fails, the other ones can still move water through it. So if one ring gets damaged, the other ones keep the tree alive, essentially. But ash doesn't have that luxury. Well, for the most part. Let me explain. Picture your house with only one water line and it has little to no backup. And that line is running right behind the drywall. That's an ash tree. Like this right here. Almost all of its water is running through this cardboard thin layer of wood right underneath the bark called the cambium layer. So when the emerald ash borer starts chewing their S-shaped tunnels through that one layer, they're not just damaging the tree, they're cutting off the primary lifeline that it has. It's like giving the tree asthma. So a handful of larvae in one season can set in motion a death sentence for a tree. A tree that's stood for 100 years and is starving from the inside. Now, most die within 2 to 4 years. That's not a slow decline, that's a death clock. It gets worse because the way the tree dies changes everything about what's about to happen next, including whether it's safe to cut down. We'll get to that in a minute, but first, here's something you can actually use if you got ash trees on your land. I'm sorry, it's just too hot to be filming outside. I'm gonna show you one way you can tell if you have an emerald ash borer beetle infestation on your hands. Woodpeckers can literally hear the larvae chewing inside the bark. They literally hear it. So they go to work stripping away the bark to get to the bugs underneath. What's left behind is the bright pale patches left over on the trunk. Loggers and foresters call that blonding, as you can see in this photo right here. If you see blonding on an ash tree, you can pretty much assume that the emerald ash borer beetle is already inside. The tree is dying and you can't tell it from the leaves just yet. Now here's the part that the news never talks about, and here's the dangerous part. Because the water supply gets cut off, a standing dead tree doesn't just die. It dries out while it's still standing upright. The wood turns brittle, it's almost like glass. And the pros have names for trees like these: widowmakers. The wood gets so brittle that limbs can shatter and fall without warning. No wind, no storm, and a limb the size of a fence post comes down out of nowhere. Even cutting one down is a gamble. This can cause the whole trunk to split and fail instantly, faster than the logger can react, resulting in what loggers call a barber chair. And as you can see here, a barber chair log is bad news for anyone attempting to cut a tree down. So if you got dead ash on your property, this isn't a weekend chore. Just, be safe out there. Call a pro. But get this, for years, there was supposed to be an answer for all of this. A solution, a tiny little hero that was gonna save the ash species. But, of course, it didn't go the way anyone planned. The first plan was a wasp. Not the kind that stings you. It's a tiny parasitoid wasp imported from Asia that was bred specifically to attack the EAB beetle. Well, technically there are actually 3 different types of wasps deployed to attack the emerald ash borer beetle, but we're gonna focus on one here. Officials released millions of them across infested states, betting on a natural, landscape-wide solution. No chemicals, no injections, just nature fighting nature. And for young, thin-barked trees, it actually worked, but here's the twist that nobody saw coming. This wasp lays its eggs using something called an ovipositor, which is like a drill, basically a tiny needle that's about 5 millimeters long. Wait, 5 millimeters? And for those that don't know, 5 millimeters is 0.19 inches thick. That's less than a 1/4 inch. Now look at the bark on a real mature ash log. That bark's about a 1/2 inch by itself. That's too thick for one of those wasps ovipositors. The wasp's drill can't punch through it. It's not even close. So the trees that matter the most, the big ones, the more valuable ones, the ones that take many years to grow, are the ones that were left unprotected. That and the fact that the EAB infestation was spreading faster than those wasps could kill it off. The official cure for the EAB crisis broke down right where we needed it the most. And that should have been the end of the story. A dead end. Except one researcher noticed something strange, almost ironic. All right, so Dr. Robert Blanchette, this guy right here, he runs the plant pathogen lab. I think it's a plant pathogen, I don't know. He runs a lab at the University of Minnesota. Back in 2023, his team proved something important. It's not actually the beetle that makes the dead ash tree snap like glass. It's aggressive wild fungi that move in afterward and rot the wood cells from the inside. And that's what makes the tree so dangerous to cut down. It's fungus. So here's the irony. Blanchette's team just turned that same weapon around and pointed it at the beetle, using a different type of fungus called the Beauveria bassiana fungus. Since the wasps can't get through that thick bark to fight the beetle directly, this new plan skips the bark problem entirely and lets the beetle do the work themselves. It's basically like a Trojan horse. They developed a trap that lures the beetles in, and while they're inside, they get dusted with spores of the Beauveria bassiana virus, and then they're released completely unharmed. Fly, 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 little beetle, fly. And then pay attention here, beetle meets beetle, and they do their beetly dance, if you know what I mean. All right, settle down. The fungal spores get transferred to the females. It moves through the beetle population almost like a zombie outbreak, going from beetle to beetle with no drill required, no bark too thick to matter. This fungi leaves those beetles looking like something out of the Last of Us television series. And this is the part where I have to tell you something that I haven't told anybody yet. This isn't just something that I read about. I've actually been in contact with Dr. Robert Blanchette himself. He's the professor of plant pathology running the research out of the University of Minnesota in St. Paul. His team has officially deployed these fungal traps into Minnesota State Forest right now, this summer, 2026. Now, the beetles out there today flying through the canopy. They're out there spreading those spores while you're watching this video right now. And nobody knows yet if it's working or not. Blanchette's team will pull the data late fall, early winter, and then we'll finally know if this fungal trap idea is actually gonna work. So here's where you come in, brothers and sisters. While we wait for that answer, our mature ash trees are still running out of time. If you're a woodworker that builds cutting boards, flooring, furniture, really anything, this is the moment to think ahead. Other than buying up all the ash that you can right now, species like red oak and white oak are pretty good alternatives. They're similar strength, similar workability, and honestly, some woodworkers end up liking the grain even more when they try it. We happen to keep both in stock in our kiln-dried warehouse here in central Minnesota. So come on down, check us out. The link for our website is in the description. But I have a question for you. So I want to know what you do. Are you stocking up on the affordable ash lumber right now while the mill still has it? Or are you betting on this fungal trap to pull the species back from the end? Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think of all this. Anything. I want to hear from you. And I promise you, the second the university releases those results, I'm going to make a video on it. But here's the thing though, even if you grab the ash lumber today or the oak or whatever, none of it matters if you don't protect it the right way once it enters your shop. A year ago, we ran full wood preservation tests, side by side, real boards, real Minnesota conditions, no shortcuts. We even have control. And we just dug those results back up. And to be honest, the coolest, most ancient preservation method is currently prevailing over the more modern one. So old is beating the new. You can find out which methods we tested and which ones won in this video right here. We'll see you there, brother and sister. Make you sit down and give you the old Sean Ryan plea. If you got anything from this video, drop a like, a comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, share this with someone that you think would find this useful.